watt-hour storage, show and tell. This is the battery, just the battery itself. It is 7.5 kilowatt hours using 8 3.4 314 amp hour cells. The case itself is very robust. It's going to survive a fall, probably out of the back of a half-ton truck. Wouldn't be the end of the world if it did crack. We can replace the case. Rights of repair. 2 handles on the sides, even a handle for here for pushing this around. This base here is just really there to make things easier for me for building units. You will probably have in your boat or RV or at home, say a base like this. The base itself is going to get screwed to the floor of your trailer or boat. It stays behind. Spring or fall, when you're taking in or putting in the batteries, they click into place. They're extremely secure. You don't now need to worry about bungee strapping your batteries down. It takes seconds to do that. I'll show you inside the batteries, the battery itself. Let's talk about the cells. The cells are just like this cells, where I've got it strapped together. I've got it taped together with wire reinforced tape. I have aluminum on each of the corners. The cells are really tightly in there. They're not moving around, and the cells themselves are compressed so that they can't put any pressure really on the terminals themselves. This is a spine that I've built for the case so that the lid itself will sit on that. It gives it extra support if you want to add not just an inverter on top of it, but if you want to add more batteries. You'll see in my pictures on my website how I've got 4 together to make a 30 kilowatt hour battery. Now, this will contain all the protection layers of the battery. So I'm looking at layers. So this will be, let's just stress on this one, layer number 1. The layer number 1 does all the hard work. So in case of an overcharge or discharging event, which is going to continuously happen as the battery charges up or as the battery is depleted, this is designed to take thousands of cycles of on and off. It's a mechanical switch. It will not let the arc of that connect or disconnect affect anything else. It contains that much better than, say, a traditional BMS. This is something you would find in an EV car. This is something you will find in a traditional battery, and it's based on MOSFETs. And after hundreds of cycles of that on and off, it does compromise that. So if we have layers, so this is the first layer, this is the second layer, it makes it almost impossible for there ever to be a fire because of not allowing the battery to be overcharged. If the batteries for the third layer becomes these things all fail, and if batteries do become overcharged, there is a vent here on the batteries to release that pressure. The case itself, in this particular case, this one here was built for a customer. This is his inverter that he supplied. Hopefully you already have an inverter. Now, he wants it so that he can put a table like this on it, and he's going to have the screw down to it, and then all he's got to do is, as an example, plug that into like that, positive to negative, and you're ready to go, good to go. This particular unit has 2 displays, so it has this display that's permanently here. This is a secondary display that you can turn the inverter on or off, or watch the power being used or going in. And as far as an RGA 45 cable can run, that's where that can go. We have not only this breaker, which is a 200 amp breaker in there, which is not necessary because I have this to control that. This here is because this is what we traditionally use. I don't think these are necessary anymore now that we have layers such as this BMS, but it's in there anyways. Now, that controls this hookup here for 200 amps. It'll disconnect the load if the load is too high. But again, can't stress enough, I'm having this controlled by the BMS. If it becomes 198, it'll disconnect the load. Now we have 2 more relays or breakers here. This will control this one. This one's controlling this one. This one's a 30. This one's a 15. So you can charge or discharge your battery for this input. Customer supplied me this charger. You just go into there. And this will charge your laptop through USB-C. Okay. This setup here will run both of these at the same time. This is an inductive load. I can turn this on and run it with this, and then turn this on. Now, if I run this on high, it will eventually, in about 30 seconds, disconnect the load again, because that's what I have the BMS set up. That's over the 200 amps allowed. The customer really only wanted 2 to 2,500 watts. The 3,000 watts is probably a good idea, because then you're oversizing the inverter. The beauty of having an inverter outside the box is this is where the heat is being generated from, this guy. It's an aluminum case, it's got fins, and it's got fans. So this is actually so much easier on the inverter as opposed to being into a case and it trying to cool itself by its fans. The case itself, that's what the inverters were always designed from the beginning, is to be on the outside. Only recently have we started to build these all-in-ones. If the inverter fails, in those all-in-ones, you're going to have to throw away the battery and the inverter. In this case, you keep the battery cells, because the cells might last you 20 years. I've got batteries now that are 10 years old. The other thing is that, let's say you change your mind. You want to go from a 12 volt to a 24 volt. We can do that. Let's say you want to have a different type of inverter down the road. You can do that. You have the right to, cells will change. The chemistry and the compounds, density and all that's going to change. Keep the case and let's just rebuild it differently for yourself. I can build the hookups for whatever you ask me. It's not just here's the battery, you have to figure it out. Let me do that. That's my job. That's it.